Hi, this is David Ross. I work in the Pac-12 in the back-to. I'm here on the unofficial lounge.
This is Terry Lighting from the Pac-12 Conference of Champions, and you're listening to the Unofficial Lounge.
The Unofficial Lounge with Ashante, Craybon, and Monty. We're here to give you the insight into some of the biggest plays you remember, involving the people wearing the stripes. We look at the grit it takes to become an official while exploring the history of officiating with the people who made it. It's more than black and white.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Unofficial Lounge. We are joined today by a very special guest. This man's entering his 14th year in the Pac-12, coming off another big-time bowl playoff game this past offseason. I think it's 2 or 3 natties. We won't count the BCS and the playoff games and all the rest of them because there's too many to count. This man is in
He will tell you, though.
Also finished off another conference championship game, which I believe is number 5 or 6 over the last couple years for him. I mean, this man is doing his thing. He continues to do it. Mr. Smooth, welcome back to the show, Darryl Johnson.
You forgot Dorsey's finest.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me again. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you, Daryl MF Johnson. You know,
No, it's always good having you on the show, DJ. We really appreciate you being one of the first and one of the few annual guests that we have on the show each and every year. So let's jump right into it. What are you looking forward to in this 14th year?
Another good season. There's a lot of things going on right now that are out of our control that really don't matter. What matters is what we do each and every week when we step on that football field. So, although there's a little added noise, it really doesn't matter because I have to approach every game this season just like any other season. Go out there and do the best job that I can do and try and finish out strong.
As you do always finish out strong. I tell many people to watch you on Saturdays and learn what to do, but some people have a better opportunity of watching people that can't work as good as you because you do it so well. It's hard to keep up.
Well,
yeah, he told me.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, he told me don't watch DJ doing it too good. You can't watch DJ. I'm like, nah. He's like, nah.
I definitely told you that. Don't he's doing it too good for you.
Yeah, like, his stuff he doing, you might not pick up on. I'm like, man, let's go.
Get there. You just won't get there right now.
So I know our last comment when we talked to you on the last pod, we talked about your expectations and moving forward after getting another semifinal championship game, Pac-12 championship game, and what was your expectations? And you did it again. You got a three-peat in you?
I don't know. I hope so. I hope so. I can perform that well. Now, whether I get a game is up to other people.
Got you.
What did they say? About opportunity or preparation plus whatever. I forget how the saying goes, but you know what I'm saying. All I can do is worry about myself, and take care of business on the football field every game during every season and let the chips fall where they may.
I think it's success is when preparation meets opportunity.
There you go. There you go. I knew it was something like that.
Close enough. But I think one thing working with you, DJ, over the years is what's so great about you is that all your counterparts on the line of scrimmage is comfortable with speaking with you, and you are open and honest. You don't hold anything back. It's like, here it is. This is what I'm doing, and explaining it to them. And you do a great job just opening up all the knowledge and experience that you have to everybody.
Well, I want everybody to excel. I didn't invent this position. I learned from all these other people along the way, myself. And I try and impart what I've learned over the years from many different mentors to everybody else. Because if I don't share it, then it just stays with me, and I don't want that to happen. I want the game to prosper, and I want officiating to prosper, so that's why I do it. I want others to succeed.
Now, how do you feel? We don't talk about games much, but we can always talk about past games. I mean, that playoff game you had last year wound up being the game, right? I mean, that was
the championship, wasn't it?
Right. That was the game of the playoffs, right? It was the only one that was really, back and forth, tight game.
The Michigan one, TCU was close too.
But TCU kind of went away with it at the end there.
Yeah. I ain't trying to give him too much credit, Cravon. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it was a great game. Going into the game, you never know. Me and Cravon worked the year before that, and the game was really not close, and one team was really controlling that whole game. So, but this is an example, where you can't let your guard down because you don't know what's going to happen from game to game, and that game went to the wire, to the second to last play of the game, so you can't take anything for granted. You got to be ready from the opening kickoff on, and you can't take any plays off.
And that's no matter what the outside noise is saying, because that was supposed to be the game of of the three in the postseason. That wasn't supposed to be the tight one. The one team kind of sneak in the back door, and the other team has been crushing everybody, and boom, all of a sudden, like you say, you have a game that goes down to the last two plays. So we always have to be ready.
Yeah, I mean that game really, I mean, it could have went the other way, so. But it was a great game. The atmosphere was nuts. I mean, Georgia's playing in their backyard. It's New Year's Eve. I think when the Ohio State kicker missed that kick, it was right at the stroke of midnight. It was crazy. It was really an exciting atmosphere, and I wish everybody could get a taste what it feels like to be in games like that. Because
it's hard for them, DJ, when you in a spot. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta have the Nancy Kerrigan him.
Yeah, gonna have to hit him in the ankle.
Hey, I tell you what, after I worked my first one, I was like, man, I got to do this again. I like this. It's really that fun.
So, because I talked about was asking you about the play of the game, or what they perceived to be the play of the game, was that timeout by Kirby Smart, and your reaction was caught off guard with that. Could you walk us through it?
Well, it was fourth down, and Ohio State was going to pull out all the stops to try and win that game, and I think Kirby read that they were going to run a fake punt, and he proceeded to call timeout. And actually, as it gets closer to the snap, my focus is more on the field than on the sideline. So it took me a fraction of a second to realize that he was calling timeout, but I knew he was calling timeout, and then it was just a matter of me reacting to it.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the replay buzz, you press the button, and there's a time lag before it registers on the field,
Right.
So but it's like, oh, he's calling timeout, so.
You kind of mentioned it a little bit though, Daryl, is that for a bowl game, you had a little different effect with it, with almost it being in a sense a home game, where most bowl games is central to not everybody's too close. You got Georgia back there in their own backyard. So did it give you a vibe of a home game, or did it give you the vibe of a bowl game that's kind of like, crowd wise, it's usually 50-50 or 60-40?
Well, I tell you, the one thing that it didn't give, you didn't have a big color disparity in the crowd because
All
both
red.
teams
That's
red.
the seed, huh?
It's all red.
So,
Right.
So it wasn't like
it's harder to tell. It would be different if it was, like one team wore yellow and they were playing Georgia, and then
Yeah.
you would have a big color disparity. But when the whole stadium looks red, it's just loud, you know.
so.
And but I know it was like a Georgia home game. It was in Atlanta, which is down the road
Right.
from the University of Georgia, and and one of my other national championship games was at the Sugar Bowl in New
With
Orleans,
LSU.
right down the road from Baton Rouge, and
Okay.
that was a little different. I mean, you had LSU versus Clemson, so there was a difference in colors.
Right.
Can't confuse purple and orange.
Yeah,
And a whole lot of yellow.
Yellow and then some yellow.
yep. There's
A whole
no
lot of yellow.
confusing that. But at that point in the game, it was, well, once you got into the fourth quarter and later in the game, it was just electric. It wasn't like a first half where the team that's on offense, their fans are quiet, and the visiting team or and the other teams trying to make noise. At that point, it was just crazy. It was just loud.
And that's when you get more focus on your pre-snap, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when it gets crazy like that, when it gets loud like that, you can't communicate verbally on the field at all. You can barely hear a whistle sometimes. So, and I've always said this, in times of stress, you always revert to your training. So, when you're into your pre-snap routine, it has to be the same every play of every game. Because once a team starts going really fast, or it's really loud, or it's really hectic, you have to revert back to how you do things on every single play. So that's why anytime I step on the field, I try to do the same thing. I don't try and skip any steps or try something new, or well, I wouldn't say not try something new, but I don't try and skip any steps because I feel it's not necessary. And it goes to muscle memory.
Right. We heard a great quote the other night talking about pregame. It's like once you have it established, you never subtract anything. You only add new things to it. Right. Because that's the game will change, but your your pre-snap is only going to enhance. It's only going to get better to keep up with a new mechanic, the new flow of the game. I mean, we look at these games now, everybody's running the spread, right? I mean, nobody. What's a fullback?
Right.
It just
What is that? That's the other running back, right?
Right. So, it's not that we took something away from our pre-snap. We just had to add to, especially being on the line of scrimmage. Heck, most of the time it's double doubles, right? It's double doubles a trip somewhere.
Yep.
So you're more surprised when somebody lines up and they have two backs. Like, whoa,
is this by accident?
Right.
Let me count how many they got in the backfield.
Exactly. But as your law enforcement background will give you, as you said, always go back to the training. Always go back to the pre-snap.
Yep. And it works for me. And if I would dare for anybody to prove me wrong on that, because it's worked for me many years and in many games. And that's how I've been taught on the football field. That's how I was taught in law enforcement. We always revert back to your training. And I've seen studies where training has evolved because of things that they used to train on wasn't good for real life situations. So, so you have to, practice how you play.
I think anybody trying to prove you wrong on your training, your pre-snap, probably watching you more on TV than they actually doing games.
Yeah.
So So you come from that, and then we ain't gonna talk about the off season. So I was gonna mess with you about something else. Now, as Craven alluded to, was now you're the face in the line of scrimmage room now, which is weird because we had so much transition in the Pac-12 on the line of scrimmage. How is that a challenge for you with the new faces? Trying to get like you said, get guys on page to what we do.
He's asking how do you feel that he's actually in the room with you?
Right, right.
Are you,
It ain't about
as
me.
nervous as the rest of
What
us?
can I do to assimilate?
Just be a sponge. I once sat in that seat. Craven once sat in that seat. You've sat in that seat at a different level. So has Monty. So we've all kind of sat on that seat or sat in that seat. A lot of you guys I know personally. So, I'm invested with you guys from a personal level. And so I want you guys to succeed, Not that I don't want anybody to fail, but I have more invested in you guys, the people that I know.
Right. You got skin in the game with them.
Yeah. So and this year it's a little bit different because, I have two guys from the Las Vegas area that I've known for the last 15, 20 years, you, Ashanti, Larry, Dawes, and Lawrence Dawes, and who else is new? So I've known you guys for a number of years, so I want to share my experiences with you guys, so you guys can prosper, and also so you can learn from my mistakes. I'd rather you learn from the things that I've messed up over the years, so you don't have to do it.
Yeah. Well, I can say it's not only you, but it's all the other guys in the room too, which is different. Because sometimes you walk in the room being new, and there's some guys trying to freeze you out, like, nah, you ain't get my. So they're not as helpful. So,
hey, I believe in karma. So I believe in doing right by people, and what goes around comes around. You put out negative energy, and might come back at you. So,
well, and in this though, everybody's got to do well because they don't single you out. They look at everybody across the board if something happens. So
yeah, that's
another
best
thing. Interest. Everybody doing good.
Yeah.
Well, Daryl, I would ask too. You were saying that how much a lot of the people that's coming in now personally, and you've been around them. That also has got to be kind of like that. That good uncle moment of, hey, I've helped them sit right here with me. They still ain't as good as me. I've helped them sit right here with me. So, you can kind of stick your chest out a little bit more, knowing like, yeah, this is what it's supposed to be.
Well, it feels good, when people that you've mentored over the years are moving up and doing well. That's a good feeling. So, but especially the two Las Vegas guys, I've known them since they started working high school. So since they started working Pop Warner games, and I've seen them progress through every single level and have been a part of that journey all along the way. So it's kind of more than just an acquaintance. When you know people for the last 15, 20 years, 25 years, they almost become like part of the family. They're part of the football family for sure.
It's a little tough love that he gives out.
Hey,
with a text, through a text.
I can't wait till a week Daryl has a week off and you working, so he could just sit back and just take it all in.
I'll have pages of notes.
If somebody else working too.
Hey, but you know what? I'll always say this. One of the biggest things when you move up to our level is the attention to detail and the amount of folks that are watching what you're doing, because all your games are on TV.
Yeah.
And people come out of the woodwork that you hadn't talked to in, years, and they're like, hey man, I saw you on TV, blah 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 blah. So, this level of scrutiny is much higher.
Goes
Yes.
much higher.
Especially when you're wearing a white hat.
Yep.
It's about to be.
Yeah, it is. It is. We definitely saw a increase of minorities in the Pac-12, which is always good. Taking that step up and hopefully leading the way, and hopefully they will continue across the board to see as much diversity that came into the Pac-12 this past off season. It's really been really good. So
Yeah.
we got to keep it up. We'll see if we get the game, but Daryl's just knocking on another Pac-12 game, Pac-12 championship. Get the trifecta going. We don't know what's coming in the future, so you might as well go get the trifecta.
Hey, I'm going to be working towards it.
I heard that.
That's
the name's going to be on the list, right?
Yeah.
As long as
I'm going to be eligible.
That's all he said. As long as your name's in that conversation, you want to put your name in that conversation.
That's it. Hey, I want to make them hard to say no. It goes a little bit beyond than just having my name on the list. I'll be like, he really had a really good year. It's really hard not to, put him out there. So, but we got a long way to go.
Long way to go.
Long way to go.
It's just begun.
It's
It's
just
just begun.
You still helping out with JUCO community college football?
Not as much as I have in the past. It's more been here locally.
Okay.
It seems this summer, I was traveling more to PAC schools for scrimmages. In years past, I'd be relegated to SC and UCLA, but this August I found myself going to Washington, Utah, and Oregon.
Whoa.
So, which is much harder. In years past, I could work at USC or UCLA and still make it down to the SCCFOA clinic, which was moved to a Zoom because of the hurricane. But
that's right.
We ain't gonna call it a hurricane. Let's call it. Yeah. What they getting in Florida is a hurricane.
It wasn't even heavy rain. It was just continuous rain.
Yeah.
Right.
When they was
it just didn't stop for about 12 hours.
Yeah, and they were like, oh, the max was gonna be like 4 or 5 inches. I was like, oh yeah, nah, that's not a so. But yeah, I think too, I was looking forward to having a scrimmage with you because last year I picked up pointers on, or you told me some things. It wasn't pointers, you told me some things I needed to do as far as when I was working with you. But so that was the only thing I was like, oh man, I ain't gonna get this. Probably try to schedule one with DJ.
Yeah. That's they changed the practice schedules too.
It was 6 a.m.
practices. They make it harder for us being able to make those practices.
Yeah, Tuesday at 10:30 a.m.
Yeah, like I can't make that. I mean,
right.
I think everybody else has a day job.
Exactly.
It's funny. I think when talking to some of the coaches, they're surprised that we do have jobs.
Yeah.
Like
I'm amazed at how many coaches are like that though. They were like, "Oh, so you do this all the time?" Like, no, man.
Ain't no money in this.
I'm getting out of here. It's I'm out here just middle of Tuesday. I got to go back in the office when I'm done.
Right.
Got an office.
What? Right. You got to work. Like,
yeah.
Right. Yes.
Ain't no benefits with this.
Right.
I ain't got no dental plan.
We're independent contractors.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, DJ, I mean, it's interesting though, because it's a lot of movement. This is going to be your first new regular full-time referee in 8-9 years.
9 seasons.
Wow.
9 seasons.
Yeah.
Can't get away with that stuff you used to.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta break in a new one.
Well, anytime you change a position, there's a transition. And this, Cravon, and you're only going to be as good as your crewmates. You know, as
Yes.
you know, you guys, you're going to have to rely on 7 other folks to make your job smooth and easier. Because no matter what happens, your
Right.
face,
And
the face of the
and
crew.
sometimes you need them other two too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Most definitely.
Right. Sometimes
Most
you need all 9 to make it go right. That is for sure.
Yeah. So, you know, we want to make, you know, the transition from being a brand new referee as easy as possible. Of course, there's going to be bumps in the road that's expected, but we hope those are minimal and minor in nature. You know, no train wrecks.
Right. I've already apologized to my line of scrimmage officials on my crew because I'm like, hey y'all, it's gonna be hard to get it out. So whenever I watch film or when it's like dead ball, whatever I look to, I look straight to the sidelines, like what's going on. So I'll apologize now because y'all gonna get it.
Well, you know, it takes time because, you know, every referee usually started at a different position, you know,
Right.
and it takes them, you know, 3, 4, 5 seasons where, you know, they transition to being a full-time referee and, you know, let the back judges be back judges and the line of scrimmage guys be line of scrimmage guys. You
He ain't
know,
letting it go, DJ.
boy, it ain't gonna be this soon. It ain't gonna be this season.
Oh
Right.
man, I moved to replay. They don't even listen to me no more. I can't say nothing.
But Monty, the question is, did we ever listen to you?
Yeah, I don't know who listened to you on the field, bro. So, but yeah.
And DJ, before we let you go, we really appreciate you jumping on with this. Any last words before Ashanti's first one that you can give him? I mean, he trying to, you know, just play it off, but you know, I know he need a hug from Big Brother.
Sweating bullets right now, ain't he?
Well, I would say this when you walk on the field, take a deep breath, take a look around, take it all in, and just work a football game because, you know, it's
Still 100 yards.
Players, you know, on a football field. You've done it before many times. But be sure to take a deep breath and look around. Enjoy your surroundings. You know, enjoy this first game. Remember, this is your first game. You know, you want to make sure you have memories of your first game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I'll say this. A good friend of mine who's retired now was in another conference, and he was a back judge. And he said his first game, you know, he was responsible for the play clock. It took him a quarter and a half before he realized he didn't know where the play clock was. Don't do that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, I sure hope I don't do that. But DJ, Mr. Johnson, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. I can't wait till we can hook up again at some point in time. Hopefully, well, you don't want to work again with me in the postseason because you're probably working like the, you know, nacho cheese.
He don't want to be in
you know,
Shreveport.
He don't want to be in
Shreveport. He don't want to be in Shreveport. That's what you're
nah.
El Paso. What you talking about?
You know, this is the only man I know that's working on a three-peat of either the CFP or conference championship. So I hope the streak continues. Okay. I know at the end it's going to be well-deserved. And thanks again for coming on the show. And since we're in the season, have a great 2023 season.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys having me on again. You know, sitting here talking to you guys is too comfortable sometimes. I have to remember I'm on a radio show, on a podcast.
But I will say this about DJ. Although he will tell you, he won't show you the games because some people who worked at the Dominions game as him will have every ring on all the fingers. Because it would have been me, you would have been seeing all my fingers. Like, hey, bro, you ain't got to show me all 8 rings.
Well, I have them here. You make it to the house, you'll get to see them.
There you go. But don't invite him. Don't invite him.
All right. Thank you, Daryl.
All right, Monty.
All right, DJ.
Okay, fellas.
The next time you're traveling up the picturesque Pacific Coast Highway, join us for happy hour at PCH Street Salon and Wine Lounge. The heart of the Pacific Coast Highway is in Lompoc, California.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Remember to please like and subscribe, as the Unofficial Lounge is available on all your podcast streaming outlets, including Apple, Google, Spotify, and Anchor. We look forward to you joining us next time in the Unofficial Lounge.